Okay, so this is part two, February the 28th, 2025. And also, my hands are still healing because I was off my diet for almost 2 months. I would say about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And I had definitely an allergic reaction. Islam, my nation of Wall Street, Dwayne Bay. It's 9 a.m. approximately now, and this is part two. The tablet ran out of storage, according to what it was saying. So what I'm going to continue to speak about is the lab experiments in Maryland, and not just here, the creation of lab experiments in Maryland. Obviously, unless they are transported from another state, that is a possibility. Definitely. Or another country, definitely, because there are South Central Americans, Mexicans, and those from Pakistan and other places, Africa. Also, not all, definitely, I don't want to say everyone from these regions of the earth are lab experiments because it's not true. But obviously, you can tell that um, the experimental experiments have been going on, and it's definitely connected to humanoid AI, mixing, creating humanoid AI and other human machines, and mental human machines, where they are able to invade dreams, the human mind while they sleep, while the human mind, while the human is up, while they are while humans are trying to live about a life, a well-being, a prosperity. So they are able to replicate voice, the human voice. They are able to replicate the inner thought. They are able to invade the sheath where it calls the human to move in a certain manner. So when you're dealing with those that have the telepathic code, who were before animals, okay, because they were doing experiments in Maryland, or slave experiments in Maryland before. The reason why, according to historians, in reference to breeding, inbreeding, but inbreeding, I think they leave out animal inbreeding, inbreeding with animals. And so what I left off from the first video is saying how I used to be offended being understood as an African American black. I was, and hearing the racial slurs of about blacks being apes. And so we would come, a lot of the conscious blacks would say, we're not apes. If you look at the pale skin, they're the real apes. Look at how hairy they are. They're more connected to the ape species than we are. Not realizing either those that the conscious were going along with the program willingly, forcefully, nonetheless, that there is truth in some of the racial slurs. And probably the reason why the thoughts of these racial slurs came about is because of knowledge of lab experiments, knowledge of the experimentations that have been going on for who knows how long. So pockets of truth was being twisted so that we don't know exactly what we are among and the extent to breed these animals in ancient lines to break the line. So if you continue to breed a beast in a ancient line where that line has the potential to connect to a higher frequency of divinity, that line will not be able to, unless through divine intervention. Okay? Divine intervention that comes from a divine cosmos portal. Something happens where to save that line, where that line can actually um, have a chance to reach a higher frequency and create a new tribe, a cleansing. So this is the science of breeding and being among these lab experiments that are adept in the mind dealing with mental terrorism. Many times I study my mind and the energy fields around my brain. And I've come across so many times that look to be from South Central America, or Mexican, demonic spirit, unclean spirit, trying to stay here, or I wake up and hear the voice or accent or frequency in the apartment of the male predominantly, but the females are around too. So this is not just them, but definitely the blacks as well. The most, I would say, least that's more obvious at doing it, but are involved, would be the pale skin. The pale skins, I like to say, I'm white American here in Annapolis. And I've already stated I'll use the salt, not all. So what these lab experiments are trying to do is find, so if they're not able to connect with you willingly, that means on the physical plane, because the goal is to breed, where you befriend them on the physical plane and you lay down with them willingly under possibly a misconception that you are lying down with something that's like you. I'm referring to an ancient celestial being or human. And then you find out that we are among that and you choose to study them. And because they are trying to break the mind or to control the mind, to breed, to keep the frequency low, to break the line of divinity, they can actually keep force engaging mentally, where they're trying to develop a place in your energy field of around your mind, so that you will not be or the elementals inside of you, you yourself, your subconscious, your higher self will be more receptive to their engagements. Now, literally, I have went to a different energy field and seen the mongoloid that looked from Mexico, trying just like in a pocket of energy in my mind. I had to expel it. So now what I've done is created a spell of killing and destroying these unclean spirits. This is the connection to Surah 2, Ayat 191 in the Quran. Surah 2, Ayat 191. When I first read that years ago, I didn't know what we were among and what they are capable of. So the black Negro, that's an ape, they like to call itself a brother. Not all that say this, but and also mixed with as human or AI, male and female, they do the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Because their goal, just like the historians read up on slave breeding, to break. What they leave out when you slave breeding someone in the manner that historians have studied, they did a lot of violence, sexual violence, because sex is a portal. So when I came to Annapolis, the first thing the black Negro started to do was invade my dreams to get my genitals to have some form of orgasm. And then the black Negroes, I was like, the females, predominantly and males, but predominantly females would walk by me, look towards me, and say, "He F you." So on a plantation, what many historians study, one of the major weapons they used was rape and molestation, or the violence of sex. Men having being forced down, bent over by another man, or either by the overseer or by another slave, and having sex, being penetrated. Women being raped, forced to have babies or kids. So now we have what they call the telepathic code, and you have these kids that have the telepathic code. And the kids are, a lot of them, too many of them have been used as sex weapons. That means they are advanced, so they have been pimped, or have been, their thoughts have been normalized to accept that it's okay for a 7-year-old to have sex with an adult male, whether it's a boy or girl. Boy having been raped by a male. Because their thoughts have been normalized. The program in the code has been switched so that they will think it's okay to behave or to witness such behavior. This is mushroom coffee with cloves. Cloves, CLOVES, and I just woke up, so CLVES, and moringa powder. It's really good. Hold on. So this is also the connection to, once again, I'm going to finish that thought. So when I first came to Annapolis, Sheep, Dwayne, Buffalo Bay, my nation of Moors, one of the first methods one of the first experiences I had was my dreams being invaded by predominantly blacks, and then those that spoke Spanish started to invade the sheep as well. Look, from South Central America and Mexico. When I'm hearing something say the Birdman, it sounded like this military black female as she walked past me, because I took out my camera, my tablet, to record, and as I saw them walking towards me, because I was experiencing odd behavior by those that were among, just like an example of hearing and seeing black females look towards me and say, "He F you," predominantly in Annapolis after my dreams were invaded. Like there's something happened, like an experience that I happened, what I experienced was my dreams, in my dreams, or I don't even want to say dreams. It was a visual invasion where they're able to latch on and then cause your genitals to have an orgasm. And then when that happens, whether it's them trying to shape their black diseased penis inside it, or and you're not waking up enough, or whatever it may be, how they're making your genitals have an orgasm, but it wasn't like this, you having sex. I never experienced that before, but it was definitely my genitals having an orgasm. I've heard so many say in an odd manner, not all that say this, someone's about to get off. So I think Not all the time when someone says this in Annapolis, but I think some of them are literally, these unclean spirits are literally um, preparing some type of satanic ritual of sex and threats towards Imani and I. So, because these are satanic rituals, so they just for years just say he effed you, like they did some type of ritual that my nation of Moors were involved with, and then they kept saying paid. So, getting back to the plantation of slavery that historians spoke about, they did the same method. So if you have the telepathic code, you can witness a satanic ritual being done in that manner, and then continue the satanic ritual by bringing it to the physical plane and saying he effed her or he effed you, and then causing that person to have friction at their employment. Not saying this is why, but having problems at with their employer, because these beasts, these animals, lab freaks that are African American blacks from South Central America and Mexico, pale skin, that are connected to the military, the Navy, the Army. So, getting back, I'll finish that thought about the black female walking towards me. The police, they can cause an issue with your job to implement why they should be able to do this. But what I mean, to implement the satanic ritual. So if you're not acceptable to the satanic ritual, and then all of a sudden someone has an issue with you, I didn't even know what had happened. I was so surprised. I knew because I was still learning about the spiritual and mental plane and what all I was among. But to come to a city like Annapolis and experience this right off from predominantly blacks, okay? Now it makes sense when I accept that we among black animals, beasts, mixed with some form of humanoid mixture of humanoid AI. They have an additional program in the code that connects them to technology. Now it makes a lot of sense. And then they top it off. A lot of them are connected to the military. I'm going to say unnaturalized Navy, Army, and other military branches, and unnaturalized police. It makes a lot of sense. And the implementation of that slave process of breeding. So once again, that was dealing with the mind. So to bring a person dignity down, you would implement it on the physical plane. Like the purpose was to bring the black male or pale skinned male dignity down by the penetration in the anus, according to what historians have recorded, by the overseer or other slaves. According to historians, this happened a few hundreds of years ago, but they are still doing this today by the use of the telepathic code. One of the major threats I've experienced by those that here in Annapolis in an odd manner and also force plotted thoughts, is that how they're going to rape my son, Imani. How they going to rape me even more. See, I call the vibration and frequency rape. I never had sex with none of them. Neither has Imani. But the goal is to bring the dignity, the divinity down to where you don't, or I don't think I am too good to be bred out with one of their beast lab freaks or Imani. Just like the goal was to bring the divinity down in that those that were prisoners of war or slaves and were being penetrated in front of others that were prisoners of war or considered slaves. So, getting back, so I remember, it was just so happened. So I saw I was seeing a lot of odd behavior from many times from the police when I would walk back and forth to go earn money. So, getting back to also, so getting back, if the satanic ritual is if they trying to implement this mentally as much as possible, then the next step is to cause issues with the person where they have to keep a roof over their head, their well-being. So they can make an issue at their job or wherever the employer is. Because the goal is to breed or implement a form of bondage with that energy and to break the frequency, which is a form of breaking the mind or controlling the mind, the thoughts, which is an energy field that helps connect us to the divinity. That's why I woke up and I could see in my energy field this mongoloid beast from Mexico, or it looked like a Mexican, definitely, but not excluding that others that look from South Central America, okay? Because they're collaborating. That's unclean and unnatural in spirit together. Was in my energy field, just like trying to sit there. Because it's trying to latch on. It's like an incubus and take energy. And so that if they can't allow my thoughts to be lowered to a beast filthy manner, which then I demonstrate a beast behavior, a filthy behavior. So if they are able to do certain things like that, then they are able to follow and be latched on to an energy, a divine energy. So that particular day, as I was walking, and I was like maybe 5 minutes from Burger King, I was already experiencing a lot of odd behavior from that which looked to be, from the people around here, which that was happening quite a bit because the goal is a satanic ritual of implementation of breeding, and they keep saying paid, brother, paid. Now I know if you're not able to go to court, because see, in those days, during the plantation days, supposedly, they would actually go to court and say, this is my property. And this property tried to run away. Or they stole my slave from me. But this day and time, if you're not able to go to court and say you paid for a human, you know that it's not legal. It's illegal. It's against natural law. So they did not pay nobody. But what they have done is try to implement a falsity. So you can literally do a false reality. So if you are a satanic, unclean abomination lab experiment, and your nature is to breed, like I have just spoke of, you only behaving what you are created to do. But you know you need to somehow change the frequency of what you're doing. Because, see, the last thing these beasts want are humans coming together and literally making it so where when they see one, killing it, right? They don't want that to happen. They don't want they don't want humans coming together trying to kill them every time they see one. But I think it's going to happen exactly that way. Because when humans start to realize it doesn't matter how much money you gain, if these lab experiments are set in a position to control the mind, it doesn't matter if you become a millionaire. The lab experiment is benefiting from the money, from what you have accumulated, from the wealth, because it has controlled the mind. It is using the body, is using the mind. So humans who are able to still differentiate what's real and what's not, humans who are able to still connect to the divinity, that which is divine, humans who are able to still implement a spirit of freedom and justice and truth, the last thing they want is humans coming together trying, and when they see one of them, killing it. According to Surah 2, Ayat 190, 191, that's exactly what it says. It says, when you see it, kill it. Because I think that particular part of the Quran, it knew that these lab experiments, or that which is like it, was going to be entering the sacred temple of the mind and trying and definitely implementing complete possession of the mind. So killing does not have to be gun on the physical plane or whatever. There's different ways you can destroy an unclean satanic lab freak who is able to cross the boundaries into the mental plane and cause and invade the sacred temples, Allah forbid. There's other ways you can destroy it, just as on a mental, spiritual level, that then can manifest naturally on the physical plane. But I think, I'm not saying I am so psychic, but I think humans are going to really focus and get rid of these beasts and separate them. Because right now they think they got it. Because they have the military, the Navy, the Army, and the police that are unnaturalized. That means they have some form of government that supports them in what they're doing. But there is a divine intervention that is involved here. And it is already prophesied that their time is ending and they will be destroyed. There is a divine intervention. So right now, this is why they're so bold. Because, a lot of the immigrants that are involved, they have the backing of the military that's unnaturalized, the Navy, the Army, the police, and other military branches that's backing by a government. So why would they fear Trump? Of what, if they already know truth of what's really going on, the program, why are they going to fear Trump, President Trump? And that's something to think about.